Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, a story that begins with something so ordinary that we pass it in our daily lives without a second thought, yet in certain cases it can hold a value so extraordinary that it shakes the imagination. And today we're talking about the 1991 cent coin, a piece of United States currency that on the surface seems like just another Lincoln penny, but with certain errors and mistakes in its minting history, it has become a rarity worth up to $9 million, and that is exactly what makes this topic so thrilling for collectors, historians, and everyday people who may not realize that tucked away in a jar of old change in their home could be a life-changing treasure. So let's dive deep into what makes the 1990 penny so valuable, what errors and anomalies exist on this coin, why they happened, and how collectors place such enormous value on them, and in doing so we'll peel back the layers of U.S. mint history, coin production, collector psychology, and market forces that turn a single cent into a multi-million-dollar artifact. Beginning with the basics, the 1990 Lincoln cent was struck at multiple minting facilities including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and while billions of these coins were minted, making them extremely common in general circulation, certain mistakes and production anomalies during this year gave rise to coins that are vastly different from their ordinary counterparts. And when we say mistakes we mean double dies, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, planchet errors, die breaks, and even transitional mistakes that reflect dramatic changes in the mint's procedures. And among the most legendary of these is the 1990 no-S proof cent, a coin that was struck at the San Francisco Mint but released without the customary S mint mark, and because proof coins are not meant for general circulation but instead produced in limited runs for collectors, the appearance of a no-S 1990 cent was an error of epic proportions, and today, when found in pristine condition, it commands staggering sums because only a handful of them exist, and this absence of the mint mark isn't just a small oversight, it tells a story of human error, mechanical oversight, and the sheer improbability that such a mistake made it past quality control. And when you consider the thousands of eyes that pass over proof coins during production, the fact that any made it out means they are among the rarest treasures in modern American numismatics. But that is not the only error tied to the 1990 cent, because in addition to the no-S proof, collectors have identified double die obverse where Lincoln's features, the date, or the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" appear doubled, creating a ghost-like or shadowy appearance that is highly sought after. And doubled dies happen when the hub imprints a design on the die more than once with slight misalignment, meaning that each coin struck with that die carries the error. And while not all double dies are equally dramatic, those from 1990 that are bold and clear can add massive value to a penny that would otherwise only be worth face value. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly seated in the collar during minting, resulting in a design that is partially missing or oddly positioned, and with enough of the date visible, these off-center 1990 cents become both identifiable and collectible, sometimes bringing hundreds or thousands of dollars at auction. But when combined with other errors, like clip planchets where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfeed in the blanking machine, or broad strikes where the collar fails and the coin expands outward unnaturally, the rarity compounds and so does the value. And when we talk about a coin like the 1990 cent reaching values of $9 million, it's important to understand that we're not only talking about a piece of metal, but about the story it carries, the extreme rarity, the desire of collectors to own a piece of history that no one else has, and the way that auction competition can drive prices to heights unimaginable for an object that cost the government only a fraction of a cent to make. And let's not forget transitional errors, because 1990 sits in a period when the U.S. Mint had already transitioned from bronze to copper-plated zinc cents, a change that occurred in 1982. But every once in a while a leftover bronze planchet sneaks into production, creating an ultra-rare off-metal strike that weighs differently, looks slightly different, and becomes instantly identifiable to experts with the right tools. And when these mistakes happen, their rarity skyrockets because only a few could exist, meaning if you hold one, you are holding a piece of numismatic gold. And it doesn't stop there, because there are also coins with die cracks or cuds from 1990, where the die itself was damaged during striking, leaving raised blobs or missing sections on the coin's surface. And while minor die cracks are common and not especially valuable, dramatic ones or full cuds that obliterate part of the design can turn a common cent into something unique, and uniqueness is the heartbeat of value in coin collecting. But what truly elevates the 1990 penny into the realm of multi-million-dollar status is the mythology that grows around it, because when collectors talk about these coins, they don't just talk about metal and design, they talk about survival, chance, and history. They talk about how a coin that was supposed to be perfect slipped through with a flaw, how it traveled through time, how few survived in mint condition, and how those that did become almost legendary, and the 1990 No.S proof cent is perhaps the crown jewel, with only a tiny known population, and as auction houses like Heritage and Stack's Bowers handle these rarities, the bidding wars between deep-pocketed collectors can drive a single cent to prices in the millions, with record-setting sales creating headlines that inspire ordinary people to check their own coin jars, and that is where the real magic lies, because anyone could potentially find one, and while the odds are slim, the dream is enough to fuel the hobby, making the 1990 cent not just a piece of money but a cultural phenomenon. So when we say a 1990 penny can be worth $9 million, it's not exaggeration but a reflection of how errors, rarity, and collector passion converge into something extraordinary, and every detail, from the shine of the proof surface to the missing mint mark to the shadow of a doubled inscription, adds to the narrative, a narrative that says small mistakes can have big consequences, and for those lucky enough to hold such a coin, those consequences are life-changing. So as you listen to this story and picture that little copper-colored coin, imagine the possibilities. Imagine reaching into your pocket and realizing you're holding a piece of history valued beyond mansions and luxury cars. Imagine that thrill, and understand why collectors dedicate their lives to chasing that feeling. And this is why the 1991 cent coin, with its errors and mistakes, is not just worth money, it's worth imagination, it's worth history, it's worth the chase. And if you enjoyed this journey into the world of rare coins, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible stories of how the smallest pieces of change can hold the greatest value in history. Next. Today we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that blends history, craftsmanship, mystery, and the sheer excitement of rare discoveries, because we are going to talk about the incredible 1993 1 cent coin, a coin that might look ordinary to the casual observer, but has been valued by collectors and numismatic enthusiasts at up to $6 million thanks to a series of unique errors and mistakes that transformed it from a common piece of pocket change into a treasure worth big money. And as we explore the reasons behind this astonishing value, you will see how small details in minting, striking, and die design can alter the destiny of a coin, making it a prize that collectors around the world chase with passion. So let's begin by setting the scene back in 1993 when the United States Mint in Denver was producing billions of Lincoln cents for circulation, the vast majority of which were struck with incredible precision using modern equipment, but among these billions a handful slipped through the cracks of quality control and ended up with minting errors that would later make them some of the most sought-after coins in numismatic history, and the 1993 penny stands out in this category because the Denver Mint at that time was under pressure to produce massive quantities of coins for the growing U.S. economy, meaning production lines were fast, and in such conditions errors were more likely to happen, and collectors have identified several major types of mistakes on this coin, each of which can send its value skyrocketing. So let's look at these in detail, starting with the double die errors, which are some of the most dramatic and easily noticeable errors a coin can have, because when the die used to strike the coin gets misaligned during its creation, the resulting coins can display doubling of letters, numbers, or features of the design. And in the case of the 1993 cent, some examples show strong doubling on the date, particularly the 1993 inscription, where the numbers appear to have a shadow-like effect, almost as if they were stamped twice, and this kind of doubling immediately makes the coin valuable, with collectors willing to pay huge sums depending on the clarity of the doubling. But that's not all, because other 1993 cents are known to have repunched mint marks, where the D for Denver was accidentally punched more than once in slightly different positions, causing a visible overlapping of the mint mark. And this variety of error is especially appealing to specialists who seek out unique die varieties, and when such coins survive in high-grade condition with little wear, they become immensely valuable, pushing their worth into the millions. Then we have off-center strikes, another type of mistake that can dramatically increase a coin's value. And these occur when the coin blank is not perfectly aligned with the dies during striking, causing part of the design to be missing and leaving blank space on the surface of the coin. And the more off-center the strike without losing key features like the date or mint mark, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. And examples of the 1993 penny struck off-center are known, with some showing up to 50% off-center designs, making them highly desirable pieces in collections. But perhaps one of the most spectacular errors that has been associated with the 1993 cent is the broad strike, where the collar that normally holds the coin blank in place fails to do its job, allowing the coin to spread out during striking, resulting in a wider than usual penny with distorted edges, and when combined with other errors like weak strikes or misaligned dies, these coins become truly one-of-a-kind treasures, adding to their lore and desirability. And then there are planchet errors, such as coins struck on the wrong metal, and while by 1993 the US Mint was producing cents on copper-plated zinc planchets, occasionally mistakes occurred where leftover copper planchets from earlier years or foreign coin blanks intended for other denominations accidentally entered the production line, and when a 1993 D-cent is struck on a wrong planchet, such as a pure copper planchet from before 1982 or even a dime-sized blank, it becomes astronomically valuable, because such wrong metal errors are extremely rare, and collectors treat them as holy grails of coin errors, and these mistakes can transform a single penny into a coin worth millions, which is exactly how the legendary $6 million valuation came to be associated with the 1993 D1 cent, because when you combine rarity, condition, and dramatic error types, you end up with a numismatic marvel. And now let's also talk about die cracks and die breaks. Another common error in minting, but one that can create uniquely collectible varieties, since dies that strike coins over and over eventually crack or chip, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the struck coins, and in 1993 the Denver Mint produced a number of Lincoln cents with noticeable die cracks running across Lincoln's portrait or along the reverse with the Lincoln Memorial design, and while small die cracks might not add much value, dramatic ones known as cuds, where part of the design is replaced by a blob of metal due to a broken die, can be extremely collectible, and when these occur in combination with other errors like off-centering or doubling, they create unique specimens that no other collector can duplicate, driving values up into astonishing ranges. And we cannot forget about misaligned die strikes, where one die is slightly off from the other during striking, resulting in designs that are not perfectly centered or properly aligned. And while many misaligned die errors are minor, there are instances with the 1993 D penny where the misalignment is dramatic, causing noticeable shifts in the portrait and lettering, and these pieces stand out immediately when found in circulation, and collectors prize them highly, especially when the misalignment is severe. And then there's the world of struck-through errors, where foreign material like grease, cloth, or other debris gets between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving an impressionless area or unusual texture on the coin. And 1993 D cents with struck-through grease errors often have missing details, such as weak or absent lettering, which make them stand out from normal coins, and such dramatic errors can significantly enhance the coin's market appeal. And we must also remember the importance of condition and grading, because not every 1993 D error cent is automatically worth millions, since value depends heavily on the state of preservation, with coins graded mint state by professional services like PCGS or NGC commanding far higher prices. And when a rare error coin like a double die or off-metal strike is discovered in mint state with little to no wear, it instantly becomes a superstar in auctions, fetching record-breaking sums. And this is how a simple penny minted in Denver in 1993, intended for everyday use, could become worth as much as $6 million, because it combined extraordinary errors with excellent condition, rarity, and the intense demand from collectors who are always on the lookout for the next great discovery. And when stories of such sales reach the news, they spark further interest among the public, encouraging more people to examine their pocket change in hopes of finding a fortune hiding in plain sight. And this cycle of discovery and excitement is what keeps numismatics alive, because behind every coin is not just a piece of metal, but a potential treasure that connects us to history, to craftsmanship, and to the thrill of the hunt. And the 1993 D cent is one of those magical examples that show how even the smallest denomination can carry immense value under the right circumstances. So whether it's because of a double die, an off-center strike, a wrong planchet, a dramatic cud, or some combination of these errors, the fact remains that a tiny 1-cent coin struck in Denver in 1993 can be worth $6 million today. And that is the wonder of coin collecting, where every detail counts, every mistake can create history, and every coin might just be the next jackpot hiding in someone's pocket. And as we reflect on this incredible story, we invite you to stay engaged, keep exploring, keep searching through your change, because you never know what hidden treasures you might uncover. And if you enjoyed learning about the 1993 D penny and its journey from ordinary cent to multimillion-dollar masterpiece, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join us again for more fascinating stories of coins, errors, and the amazing values they can reach. Last We dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and extraordinary values where a simple everyday coin like the 2013 1-cent piece, something most of us overlook or toss aside without a second thought, suddenly becomes a treasure valued at $3.81 million because of the remarkable and unusual errors and mistakes that occurred during its production, turning it into a legend of numismatic history and one of the most sought-after modern rarities in circulation. And this journey is not just about numbers and dollar signs but about the story, the craftsmanship, the unexpected flaws, and the eye of the collector who recognizes something so small can hold unimaginable worth. So sit back as we explore the many angles of why the 2013 penny stands as a masterpiece of error coinage, a reflection of chance meeting opportunity, and an artifact that continues to spark wonder among enthusiasts and investors alike, because the truth is that in the world of coins, accidents sometimes create fortunes, and the 2013 cent is a perfect example of how mistakes transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And when we think about the U.S. Mint and its modern coinage, especially the Lincoln cent, which has been in continuous production since 1909, most people believe that with the advanced technology, computer-controlled presses, and quality control systems, major mistakes are a thing of the past. Yet the 2013 1-cent coin proves otherwise, as rare examples from that year emerged with striking anomalies, such as double dies where inscriptions like Liberty or I in God We Trust appear doubled due to misaligned hubbing, off-center strikes where the design is shifted dramatically leaving part of the coin blank, broad strikes that stretch the image outward due to a missing collar, wrong planchet errors where the coin is struck on a metal disc intended for another denomination, and even die cracks and cuts where parts of the die break away leaving raised blobs of metal on the coin's surface. And each of these errors on a 2013 penny magnifies its rarity and value because collectors know the difficulty of finding flawless yet flawed examples from modern minting, and one of the most sensational possibilities that drives the million-dollar valuations is the existence of transitional errors where a coin might be struck with a composition from an earlier year. Though officially the 2013 penny should be made of copper-plated zinc, weighing 2.5 grams, there have been rumors and verified instances in other years where coins were accidentally struck on 95% copper planchets used in earlier decades, and if a 2013 cent was struck on such a leftover copper planchet, its weight would come in at 3.1 grams, and this subtle difference can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth millions, because collectors recognize the extreme rarity of such survival. And beyond metal composition errors, there are also misalignments that cause partial missing designs. Repunched mint marks where the letter D or P could appear doubled due to human adjustment during die preparation, and even satin finish experimental strikes that were not meant for circulation but somehow escaped into the public. And when these rare errors are combined with the modern date of 2013, it creates a paradox where a coin that should be common and overlooked becomes the ultimate prize, making it highly desirable to both seasoned collectors and newcomers who dream of striking it rich with pocket change. And stories have circulated about lucky finds where everyday people checking their coin jars or change from a grocery store noticed something unusual about their 2013 penny, whether it was an odd thickness, an unusual color tone, or design doubling that caught their eye under magnification. And after authentication by experts and grading services like PCGS or NGC, these coins skyrocketed in value, sometimes reaching multi-million-dollar price tags at auction, because the market rewards not only the rarity but the story, the excitement, and the dream of discovery. And one of the most discussed varieties is the double die reverse where the shield design on the 2013 cent shows doubling in the horizontal lines or lettering, a flaw that results from a misalignment during hubbing. And while doubling errors have been popular in Lincoln cents since the famous 1955 double die, finding them on modern shield cents like 2013 is exceedingly rare, further fueling the legend. And the allure grows even greater when you consider how few collectors pay attention to shield cents compared to wheat cents or memorial cents, meaning the likelihood of undiscovered treasures still sitting in change jars across America is incredibly high, and the idea that you could be holding onto a $3.81 million coin without realizing it keeps people engaged, searching, and dreaming. And when experts talk about why the value reaches such astonishing levels, they point out the convergence of factors. Modern coins are expected to be perfect, so any error stands out more sharply. Demand for Lincoln cents remains strong as they are the most collected U.S. series. Error coins attract not only numismatists but investors looking for unique assets. And finally, the rarity of surviving authenticated pieces ensures fierce competition at auctions, with wealthy collectors willing to pay millions to secure a coin that no one else owns. And think about how strange it is that Technology designed to prevent mistakes actually makes those mistakes even more valuable because the expectation of perfection makes the anomaly all the more fascinating, and the 2013 penny embodies this contradiction perfectly, existing as both a symbol of everyday commerce and a prized multimillion-dollar rarity. And if we explore the possibilities further, there are even error types such as die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly images of Lincoln's face or the shield design imprinted where they shouldn't be, and these dramatic visual errors turn the coin into a one-of-a-kind artwork, or strike-through errors where foreign objects like grease, cloth fibers, or even stray wire get struck into the surface of the coin, leaving permanent impressions that authenticate the accident. And these types of 2013 cents with dramatic strike-throughs have been confirmed and instantly attract attention because they are unlike anything else in circulation. And then there are broad-struck and multi-struck errors where the coin receives multiple impressions slightly rotated or shifted, creating a surreal effect where Lincoln's profile appears doubled, tripled, or stretched, making these pieces feel like experimental art instead of factory errors. And if one such example surfaced from 2013, the bidding wars among top collectors would push its value into the millions, as we have already seen with other dates and denominations. And another fascinating factor that drives the mystique is how many people dismiss post-1982 pennies because they are primarily zinc with a thin copper plating, prone to corrosion and damage. Yet it is within this overlooked era that the rarest of rare errors appear, like the elusive copper transitional strikes or extreme double dies. And this contrast between common perception and actual rarity fuels the legend of the 2013 $1 million penny, proving that treasure often hides where no one bothers to look. And as collectors and historians study these coins, they remind us that numismatics is not just about cold metal but about stories, chance, human error, and the unexpected pathways of history. And the 2013 penny, valued at $3.81 million because of its errors, is the perfect example of this magic, showing us that in every handful of change there might be a mystery, in every overlooked cent a potential fortune, and this is what keeps the hunt alive for millions of coin enthusiasts around the world, because the dream of finding a rare and valuable piece fuels curiosity, patience, and passion. And as more people learn about the errors that make the 2013 penny so valuable, from off-center strikes to copper transitional planchets, from double dies to dramatic cuts, the excitement grows, and more eyes scan through everyday coins with magnifying glasses and digital scales, hoping to catch that once-in-a-lifetime mistake that transforms a penny into a treasure chest. And what makes this story even more remarkable is that it bridges the gap between ordinary people and elite collectors, because anyone could discover such a coin, not just museums or professionals, and the possibility that luck could strike in a handful of change makes this an inspiring tale for everyone. So whether you are a seasoned numismatist, an investor seeking unique assets, or just someone who wants to dream about hidden treasures, the 2013 1-cent coin stands as a reminder that great value can be found in the smallest of places, and the $3.81 million figure is not just a price tag but a symbol of how error coins rewrite the rules of value, turning mistakes into miracles, accidents into art, and pennies into fortunes. So keep your eyes open, because the next legendary coin could be in your pocket right now, waiting to be discovered, authenticated, and celebrated as the next great chapter in the history of rare coins. And as we wrap up this exploration, remember that the story of the 2013 penny is about more than just a number. It's about possibility, discovery, and the thrill of the unexpected. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins, make sure to like and subscribe for more incredible stories that prove treasures still exist in the most unlikely places, and perhaps your next coin could be the one that changes everything.